All right, this is Nick Lowry, my buddy Andre Gorin, and we're here at Windsong Dojo looking at the renzoku, or the chain series actions. As we do this body of work, there is a tendency to focus on the first four releases as the primary forms. That's where everything as a beginning starts from the basic number 1 form, the basic number 2 form, here, number 3 form, here, and the number 4. The last 4 releases, the releases that slip under the arm, are treated as countering ideas or reversal ideas. In the case of the techniques in which we slip under his arm from the inside, this way, like the 5th release, or like the 7th release here, they're treated as cases in which the man has closed the distance too much. I've begun to operate into a number 1 release position, but he is closed towards my back, for instance. And so we have this 5th release that happens. And from there, a set of conditions that occurs. And we talked about these earlier when we did number 1. If I'm sliding into what amounts to the 5th release, and my thumb remains closed as I move away from him, I'll wind up in an automatic position of kote-gaeshi right here. If you slide into the 5th release, your thumb remains open as you move away from him, you automatically come into a position of controlling for mawashi right here. If there's no thumb issue at all, but it begins to break loose at the top, so you change hands, it becomes a tenkai-kote-gaeshi function. And from each of those, we have a pattern that goes down the road. When we think about, and there's also the interesting point that you can also reach down and stimulate his other side. We can always do the tickle to the knee thing. When we think about the forms of 7, which is parallel to that 5th form, what we see is the whole body of actions which turn into irimi-nage right here. And the stuff that lives kind of around irimi-nage. Once you turn the corner and you're very close to the man, you might wind up in a grappling form of an arm bar here or a coil under his head like this. You might be further away as you turn under and be controlling to this straight arm position, out and down. You might be all the way out at the elbow, more like a oshi-taoshi form. Out here, a mawashi with a oshi-taoshi following it up. You might go so far away from these actions that the whole thing breaks loose and you have to change hands to the other side for the mawashi on the outside. And that included an interesting way to get to the Gaiden-ate and gyaku-gamae-ate forms. Gyaku-gamae-ate coming through the head, the Gaiden-ate brushing up and through and dropping them off. So we have the body of work that lives around the 7th release. Then there's a body of work that lives around the 6th release. So we're starting as if we're doing 1, boom, and it's like we've run into a wall, or he's pulled us back, or we don't know why. Something has reversed the whole condition of heading off in this direction, and we actually have to go in the opposite direction. We hand off, and we have a nice throwaway. You could just start into this, swing out. I'm sorry, I'm beginning like I'm doing 1, and I hit a reverse. The feed happens right under the wrist so that you maintain a nice contact. And then we just let them go. You have any sort of slipperiness in that contact, boom, boom. The grip is dying here or here. It's not making an effective lock right here for you. You don't really care. Brush across and finish as an oshi-ate. Perfectly fine. You could do more elaborate forms with that. We know that there's thread the needles there, where you could just take it out and flip the fella. We know that there are kneeling forms. We know that there's more jacking up and attacking the elbow forms. And you're free to explore all those. The functional element, the main big issue in terms of the renzoku, is simply this reversal issue and also not tying ourselves to a particular grip. So if I'm very grip dependent, I must always get this perfect, wonderful grip. And suddenly I find myself in a circumstance where I don't have the perfect, wonderful grip. This is not doing the same job as this would do for me. That I don't then sit around and try to take this bad grip and force it back into the good grip that I'm after. You find yourself in a blown grip, you say, hey, cool, don't worry about it. Don't get fixated on it. Don't wind up trying to get cranky with it. You just go to the next cool thing. When we look at the 8th release, it's virtually identical. We start in a number 3 position. Again, we're running into an object here. It's impassable, or we're being pulled back perhaps by him. And as we cut back across, the hand feeds, and again we're back in this oshi-nage type or tenkai-kote-gaeshi type condition. Can be thrown back, can be thrown forward. You can start to lose this whole quality. This can start to go away from you, and you just fade back into the oshi-ate. Those reversals crop up as addendums, basically, to the first 4 release conditions. And they deserve some study on their own, but they can also just be included in the body of the first 4 chain series, if you like. They don't necessarily have to be standalone features. So, thank you very much.